So how do we quiet the voices of distraction, right? I had a teacher that said that we are bombarded with between 3,000 and 5,000 ads every single day. And I can see why when I went to school, they said, do not turn your TV on. And we were literally told to really focus on our schoolwork, right? I don't know if you've ever had a teacher tell you that, and I don't mean for a semester or before you study for a test. I mean for the whole time you're in school. And also, if a family member dies or something, you don't get to go to the funeral. You're still going to school. A lot of people disagreed with that, but I wouldn't say disagreed with it, but we're surprised by it. But it just goes to show that different education can have different ways of wanting to deliver that education or shaping the students in a certain way, right? That's one thought I have. So anyway, we're looking at today at the space power generator, and I do think it's important to focus on what we're learning, but everyone's going to do that in their own way because you have freedom of choice, right? I have helped myself focus by turning comments off on the channel, and I know a lot of you already know that when I have shared that previously. So we're just looking at the space power generator here, and it says space power generator. Let's see what this says up here. Let's go up to introduction. Let's go up to introduction. Let's see. Let's go to the top. It says Physics of Free Power Generation Beyond Matter by Paramahamsa Tiwari. That's Paramahsa, and then Tiwari is Tewari. It says Limitation of the Law of Energy Conservation, Abstract, Chapter 8. So everyone's been writing Amazon, asking Amazon to please carry this book in audiobook. So if you'd like to join that, please do. And maybe this is a book that can be at least on audiobook one day, right? So a lot of these really important books are out of print, and some of the last copies were selling for thousands of dollars sometimes, and sometimes selling for, what they originally sold for or even less. That happens too. And sometimes just thrown away because the people that are selling them think that they're, because some of the pages are damaged, they don't think it's worthy of being kept, even though maybe 90% of the book is still readable. That's happened as well when you read stories about these books, what happens to them. But some of the parts of the book has been preserved for educational purposes. And let's look at that today. Let's see what we're looking at here. We have Limitation of the Law of Energy Conservation. Okay, so experimental results from a new system of electrical power generation in which energy output exceeds energy input are given. An alternative theory shows that basically it is the spatial reality that creates cosmic matter. How interesting is that, right? This comes from a gentleman that ran a power station, okay? This man is an electrical engineer, and he was in charge of running a power station. He knew what he was talking about, and he worked closely with Bruce De Palma, who was a graduate and even professor at MIT, and studied at Harvard as well. Bruce De Palma. Okay, so Bruce De Palma and Paramahamsa Tiwari worked closely together, along with many other what I call masters of energy, right? Masters of the universe, which is when we go far beyond what textbook is introducing, right? So textbook can seem, a lot of the complaints about school, and this is changing, and maybe it already is fully changed now, but the shift was that school was claiming that there's just no extra energy in space. But then there's a debate, yes there is, no there's not, and some people believe there is, and some people believe there's not, and then it goes back and forth, where, okay, most of us believe there could be, and then they go, no there's not, we proved there's not. So we're like always proving both, right? Back and forth, back and forth. Well, okay, so if these machines are working and they're putting out more energy than they take to run, the inventors are saying, who are highly educated, that energy could be coming from space itself, because space has enough energy in it to power the planet. And I'm talking about the energy that's in the palm of my hand right now. And it replenishes itself at 10 to the 120th times per second. And space has 10 to the 40th times more power, more energy density than the material universe, right? So I'm distinguishing the material universe from the cosmic energy which powers that material universe. And interestingly enough, the material universe powers the cosmic universe, which is just the space universe, right? Space. Material universe powers space, and space powers the material universe. It's a symbiotic relationship. And that's how nature works. So a lot of people say reality is entirely made up, and we don't want to leave out the possibility and actuality and reality of such a machine as the space power generator, right? This is very, very important. So it's every person's job to find their own way of sharing their understanding of how this works, right? And not to just be a bully and put people down and tell people to stop learning and stop thinking, because there's no reason for that. There's no reason to do that. There's every reason to conserve, to preserve this great wisdom and to build on it, right? There's every reason to do that. Every humanitarian reason, which is that's what we're talking about here. Okay, so where were we? Okay, let's see. I don't know if I already read this first paragraph, but we'll read it again. Experimental results from a new system of electrical power generation in which energy output exceeds energy input are given. An alternative theory shows that basically it is the spatial reality that creates cosmic matter, and therefore the energy conservation law primarily is applicable to the universe as a whole. Discrepancies in the energy conservation law will arise in all those phenomena where spatial energy fields in atomic structure are taken into account. Introduction. The law of conservation of energy is today an accepted doctrine that governs all energy exchange phenomena of nature. The impossibility of perpetual motion follows from this very law. Perpetual motion just means something can keep going, but but still needs maintenance, right? We know that. Just meaning it can run, energy can still flow from cosmic energy through the system, but it still needs maintenance like bearings and stuff, right? In perpetual motion, my understanding of it is that it just means we're getting energy from the environment. Although I don't know whether to say bullies, but I'll say, because it's used in a bullying way, is that people can be bullying when they say you can't make something get energy from space. You just can't. But that's where all energy comes from. But there's debates and arguments about that to no end. There's no end to them, right? But I welcome everyone to study this. I invite everyone, including the people that are bullying people. I don't think it's good to bully people. I think that should stop. It really needs to, because we also have to stop having war, right? Bullying is like a war. It's like causing war. So let's stop that. We really should. We have to stop that. We have to stop fighting. We have to find ways to not fight and to work together. Okay, let's see. Introduction. The law of conservation of energy is today an accepted doctrine that governs all energy exchange phenomena of nature. The impossibility of perpetual motion follows from this very law. I think I read that. When a neutron within a nucleus undergoes beta decay, splitting into an electron and a proton, the mass of the neutron exceeds the combined mass of the electron and proton, as per mass energy equation E equals mc squared. The mass deficit should appear in the kinetic energy of the decay products. Accurate measurements, however, showed that the electron and proton carried less kinetic energy at that stage, 1931. When the law of conservation of energy was threatened. The existence of a new particle, neutrino, till then unknown, was postulated to save the law. The particle predicted had to be neutral so that charge conservation is also applicable to the process, because the decay products, proton and electron, from the neutral neutron carry positive and negative unit charges respectively. The above shows the rigidity with which presently the energy conservation law is adhered to even in quantum phenomena. The results of certain experiments in recent years involving electromagnetic induction effect, described further in this article, are in violation of the conservation law of energy. A deeper analysis of the fundamental state of energy that can create stable matter and energy exchange between electron, atom, and electromagnetic radiation are carried out through an alternative theory proposed in author's work 1, 2. 1, 2, that reveals the reasons for the apparent failure of the conservation law in the above-mentioned experiment, and also the major digressions from reality that seem to have been made by the 20th century physics. Space power generator. A rotating system of electromagnetic and conductors is shown in Figure 1. Let's look at Figure 1. Is this Figure 1? It says Figure 1 right there. This is Figure 1. Should we look at that? I say we have a look at that. Let's notice the bottom here where it says, note, for simplicity, electromagnet's core, magnetic path, and coil are not shown. These look like they're going opposite directions. This looks like it's going this way, like counterclockwise, and this one looks like it's going clockwise. I'm just talking about this field right here, right? Those two lines. I think this is one rotating magnet, and this might be a separate rotating magnet, and I guess they're both rotating the same way, right? Because there's just one shaft. So if it's showing two different magnets, but I don't know what the polarity of those magnets are. Is the outer rim of the magnet the same polarity all the way around, or does it switch between north-south, right? I don't know that either. But I have seen some experiments where people will have magnets where if this is the magnet in a circle, right, and it spins, it'll be like north-south, 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 like that. And then they just spin it in space, right, just spinning it really fast. And energy, like a brush, can touch that and extract energy from that part and from the center shaft where it spins. That's the two places the energy is extracted from. That's what Bruce De Palma did. I don't know how the space power generator is different, though, because Bruce De Palma's machine was just called an N machine, and I think he was just spinning one magnet. This looks like there's two magnets. Well, actually, Bruce De Palma's big system was spinning two magnets, but they were separated far apart. They were like a foot or 2 feet apart, away from one another. And I also don't know if his magnets were spinning in opposite directions. I don't know that. But this is supposed to be a different kind of system here. Okay, well, let's look at this. Let's go ahead and proceed. Oh, so this just says load current, which is showing the two areas connecting, the two brushes connecting together, right? That's a brush and that's a brush, I think. Brush, zero potential. That says shunt, slip ring, rotating conductor. What does that say? A what? Rotating conductor. I don't understand what they're saying about rotating conductor, do you? They are showing that this motor is spinning this shaft, right? So this is spinning this way. It seems like there's two different things spinning. This whole area is spinning, but then there's a conductor spinning this way as well that spins around with this. I think that's what's happening. I think I just figured this out. I think there's two things happening here. That makes me think that this is a space drive generator. Like this can actually move through space just because of what it's doing. When you have multiple things moving, like this is moving, and then that whole thing's spinning as well, a different direction, and you start moving, it'll start to push through space. You can make yourself move through space, like a drive system, like a gravity drive. So space power generator to me, just right now, is looking like it's a gravity drive system. He's not showing how. Okay, he called it a. Did he call it a? What did he call it? Magnetic field. Oh, I just made a mistake. I'm mixing my lines up here. But look what I just said, though. I made that mistake, but that mistake was beautiful because I think there's something to it. So I think he's saying this is a magnetic field. He's just calling this a magnetic field going like this, right? Those lines. And then above it is rotating conductor. That's just the magnet, I think. See, it's a separate line. See that? That line right there is separate. That's the rotating conductor. I think it's a he's calling it a rotating conductor, but they're calling it a magnetic field right here. I don't know how to translate this into reality, though. Like, what does that actually look like? Because I've seen the space power generator, and it's like fully built, and it's so big, I don't really know what's inside of it. I've seen many drawings of it, many designs. But sometimes people will draw something wrong and just put it out there. But it's still okay. We can still compare all the drawings out there. If you watch the movie Thrive 1 and Thrive 2, the makers of that film said that 95% of the systems out there are like, I don't know if they said fake or don't work, but 5% do work. So it's our job to find which ones work. I think Paramahamsa Tewari is definitely the real thing, but someone could design his system in drawings and put the wrong design out there. Paul Pantone said that was done with his system. And he said that people drew out the plans in a way that were totally wrong. And he said the correct way to do it is very simple, but the people put the wrong plans out there that were overly complicated just to confuse people. So everything I think can be, in the end, once we understand it, can be very simple, very understandable. Now, with that said, this looks pretty simple, but I'm still trying to understand it. But I do think this is the real thing, though. Space power generator. Okay, did we read space power generator? Did we read that already? Let's see if it looks familiar. I'll start reading it again. A rotating system of electromagnetic and conductors shown in Figure 1. Oh, wait, let me back up more. Okay, I don't know where we stopped here, but I'll read this again. Just skip forward a few minutes if you don't want to hear. Let me read this again if I did read it already. Space power generator. Space power generation. A rotating system of magnet, and conductors is shown in Figure 1. Oh, yeah, and then I went down and looked at it. That's what we did. The conductor A. Okay, let's look at A. Rotating conductor, A. Okay. Develops positive voltage with respect to the shaft. Okay, so the two parts are here and here, right? But so here's the shaft. But my question is, why is it showing that brush touching the other, this part? Unless that's just, that represents the shaft. Maybe this isn't a magnet. Maybe that's a magnet, and maybe this one just represents a piece of metal, a ferrous iron metal, that's connected to that shaft and spins with the shaft, right? And then this is a magnet that spins with the shaft. That could be it. I may have just figured this out. I hadn't seen that before. Oh, wait a second. I think they say it. Let's see what they say here. Okay, well, let me read it. Let me read this again. The conductor A develops positive voltage with respect to the shaft. Conductor A, they're calling this rotating conductor A. And then what is this one called? Let's keep moving slowly. I'll go slowly through this. Develops positive voltage with respect to the shaft due to its rotation with the magnetic field B. Okay, where's the magnetic field B at? Let's see if we see a B here somewhere. Let me know if you see a B somewhere in here. Do you see a B? I see brush plus VE potential. I see rotating conductor A. Oh, that says A. Rotating conductor A. What? Then what's this? Rotating conductor. What's that? It's showing. I'm confused right now. This doesn't make sense to me. Okay. Conductor A develops positive voltage with respect to the shaft due to its rotation with the magnetic field B. Well, the other conductor A1, I think this is A1. So this must be A, and this says positive there. That's what that is. So this is A, because it says positive. That's positive. And it says right there that this is, I think something said neutral or something. Yeah, it says zero potential on that one. Zero potential. So this must just be a piece of metal, a ferrous iron metal. and this is the magnet. But look how the metal goes out further than the magnet. I never saw a design like that. I thought the magnet had to be what came out really far. That's very interesting. Wow. See how something little was changed? That's experimental right there. I would have never thought to go further out with the zero potential, right? With the ferrous iron metal. I'm thinking this is a ferrous metal. Two ways it could be tested: a ferrous metal ring, right, or a like an aluminum ring or a copper. But I think it's ferrous iron. That's my thoughts. And I think so. Yeah, because look, there's nothing connecting to the shaft. Oh, I'm figuring this out. I love this. See, it is helping. It's helping to share this with you. It's helping me to teach you is teaching me. To share this with you is teaching me. I can't believe I figured this out. Do you know how long I've been trying to figure out the space power generator by myself? And I said, you know what? I'm going to share this with everyone. I wasn't even looking for this. I was not looking for this tonight. Okay, I was reading from this book right here. I was reading from UFO Contact from Planet Iarga, and they have a free energy system in there that they're sharing with us. They're sharing their physics with us, right? So we can travel and visit them someday. But they're hoping that that we stop fighting each other first, right? Because what would we do? What would we do to other life in the universe? Are we going to do to them what we do to ourselves? Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we do that? If we're fighting with ourselves, why wouldn't we fight with other places? You think we're going to go out there and take their resources? I don't think so. We have to stop doing that. We have to stop fighting with each other so we can explore space in a peaceful way. Anyway, let's go to the next page. I think there was a design here. There's different designs. Okay, we'll show some of this here. You can read this. We'll go through this whole book. We'll go through this. I'll talk about it as I'm going through it. Educational purposes, right? Entertainment purposes. I think this book's available on audiobook. Or it was at one time. This is some kind of a generator, I think. It's showing, it's teaching us how to think about the universe, I think. You know, that's what I think is happening here. Oh, is this the, oh, this is the system. Look at this. Oh, I just love learning about things. These are the Iargans. They're very peaceful people. I'm saying people. I don't know what to call them. I don't know what to call us. Are we people? Intelligent life. They're ahead of us because they don't fight each other. If we stop fighting each other and destroying each other, if we stop, we will advance exponentially. Okay? When we stop destroying ourselves, we will advance in every way. Our medicine will advance. Our science will advance. Right now, we put so much money into fighting, and we have to stop that immediately. Immediately. And that starts with education. So push for that. And I mean hard. Push for education and do it, right? It starts in the earliest grades. Educating the value of life and the value of solution-oriented worldwide collaboration. Let's see what this says here. So this is saying north, and I think it's saying it spins this way. And I'm just going to guess that these are conductors. So it's conductive there, 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 like a ferrous iron. I'll have to read this again. We'll read it. I don't know if I'm correct on this. And then these are magnets. See what the magnets are doing? So when this one is here, this one's there, and these two match this one. So north is facing down, 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 and on this one, north is facing up. And then what's the direction of rotation? This is counterclockwise, 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 and counterclockwise. All of them are counterclockwise. Now there's a line around this one. So my guess would be that something takes place here when you have these fields, right? We're covering every side of this pyramid. I'm going to call it a pyramid with fields, with these fields. What do you think this will do? I want to charge a battery with it, but it might allow something to lose weight. Something might become lighter. This might generate its own gravitational field. We already know how to do that here with the gravity field generator. This is the simple way to do it, but this has to be connected to something as well, right? See how this exists within these materials here? And that's what I mean. So these rotating magnets are connected to this material, right? I don't know where I would connect to this to charge a battery though, but I would have to just test it. I would have to touch a piece of metal. What I would do is I would begin by touching a piece of metal to different parts of this, one piece of metal at first, and then I can attach a piece to each corner, to the middle right there. I can attach a piece to there. And then I need a plus and a minus for a battery, right? Which is just minus and more minus, right? That's what Don Smith said, right? Don Smith said that right there. Let's see what look at Don Smith's book right here. Trying to make room here so you can see what I'm talking about. So Don Smith right here said that there's minus and more minus. Don Smith, Magnetic Resonance Energy Crafting Systematic Index book by Richard Friedrich. Okay, now Don Smith said there is no positive and negative, there's just negative and more negative. Okay, that's fine. So on this one, I would think I would connect one piece of metal. So these are going to have electricity going to them to make these motors spin, right? These are little electric motors, I think. That's what I'm imagining. Electric motors spinning these magnets, right? So hopefully I could just take apart electric motors and put the rotors here, or simply make this system, very simply, right? There's a lot of people on the internet that like to do experiments with magnets, and I'm hoping that they can actually do some of this experiment too. I'll do it myself as well, as soon as I can. And I have to think about how to make these in a simple way, this metal. So one of my thoughts is, instead of having these things at first, for the first prototype, see how this metal goes up a little bit? I could just bring this I could just make this outer part smaller, right? So that the magnet passes by this, this, and this. But it won't be as exact as it is here. See how that's very exact? It'll just be passing this whole area, kind of. Which is not as precise, I realize that. But just for the first prototype, I'm thinking for simplicity, I could just get pieces of metal and put them like that, right? Like that, and then like that. Okay, and then let's see. What was I going to show you? Well, we were going to read this, huh? But I'm reading this over here. But should we look at this too? See what it says? Maybe we'll come back to this. We can read a little bit, huh? We're already here. These 4 synchronous 3-phase generators are coupled together by a gearbox and are driven by the main electric motor, not shown in the drawing. Consequently, the 4 3-phase generators fulfill the synchronization and constant phase shifts for the flywheels of the pyramid edges. The 4 separate rotating fields together initiate the complex 3-dimensional rotation of the carrier field or atom field. The disadvantage of the first model is that it is further away from reality because the atomic field is not symbolized as one 3-dimensional rotating field. However, it shows better how to imagine the complicated rotation in 3 dimensions. Okay, so just to let you know, I do think that extraterrestrial life, which we are also extraterrestrial life, right? We're also in the universe, right? So we're aliens to the rest of the universe, just to let you know, for those of you that haven't thought about that. I think that they're trying to think of how to help us in every way that they can, but only we can stop ourselves from destroying each other, right? But I have heard of many, many stories on documentaries where the spaceships, they call them Foo Fighters, F-O-O fighters, Foo Fighters, even though they don't fight, they're called fighters. I think that's one of the words they use in the military. They were seen many times throughout wars, and they actually come and turn off the bombs sometimes. They'll turn them off, I think, to make us stop hurting each other. I've heard that many times. There's many people in the military who share their stories about how UFOs have come right above them in their fights, just flown right over them, totally silent. And then everybody stops fighting for a little while, and then they start fighting again when the UFO leaves. UFO, that word is said to be just when their physics goes beyond what we understand. But we understand speed of light and faster than the speed of light, so I don't know why we keep saying that, but I think we just use the word UFO anyway. But it's definitely identified. It's just a car. It's a car from the future. It's our cars in like a couple 100,000 years. Or in a few years. It depends on us, how fast we get there. If we stop fighting, we'll definitely move forward much faster. As long as we're destroying ourselves, that slows us down a lot. So there's many incentives and reasons to stop fighting each other and stop destroying ourselves. Let's see. Let's see where we are. So this is an Iargan, if I understand correctly. I hope I'm saying that right. Let's see. Let's see what this is. What is this? Non-ferro bridge, permanent magnetic rotor and flywheel axis, pyramid edge, soft iron bars. Oh, I think this is still about that pyramid design. It's just showing us closer what they're explaining more about the materials, I guess. So this definitely does need to be read, but this can be read, I think, if you go on the audiobook on Amazon. I think I saw it on there before. I haven't looked recently. The first analog model. In one triangular plane of the pyramid, the 6 synchronous motors in the iron frame demonstrate, so it is iron, demonstrate a rotating magnetic field seen from the center of the plane. Each edge of the pyramid has the right phase shift with respect to the other edges of the triangle. The first model has 4 central rotating magnetic field generators. We'll get back to the space power generator. We'll get back to that. Okay, there's time. This video is going to take days and weeks to load, though. I should probably stop it and start over again, because I still have videos loading from days ago, and they're not even halfway loaded. What was that last word? I get mixed up when a word is half here and half there. Generator. Field generator in the middle of each triangular plane. See figure of unfolded pyramid indicating the actual phase shift. I don't know if that's this. Does it say where the figure was? See figure of unfolded pyramid. Does it say what it is? Oh. Okay, I know there's more designs on the on these generators. There's more. I've seen them when I've been through this book before. I saw another design, if I recall correctly. I've looked at many books. There's many books that share different drive systems and technology with us. They share, Extraterrestrial Life shares their knowledge with us all the time. And directly with people, too, and then people bring that technology out. But it's also said that a lot of our technology could be coming from a lot of help that we get. We get a lot of help. But the question remains, how do we help ourselves, right? In one, by stop destroying ourselves. That's very important. That's of extreme importance. Okay, let's see. I just saw some kind of drawing. There it is. Let's see what this is. I don't know what this is saying. The what? The law cycle? The low cycle. Okay, we can look at this later. So, I'll just show this page real quick in case you want to read it. But I do recommend getting the book. I'll show this page. I'm always asked, where can I get the book? Where can I get the book? You know, anytime I'm reading from anything, people always want to know where they can buy the material because people like to study for themselves. I understand that. And then we can also collaborate together, right? Collaboration. Sharing our thoughts about how to build things together. Oh, there's another one. Look at this one. Wow. That is very interesting, isn't it? And it looks like there's different kinds of designs. Okay. Turning on some light so I can see a little better. This mechanical model has only one central generator in the middle of the pyramid. Instead of the four one moment. Instead of the four rotating field generators of the first model, all magnetic waves in the pyramid edges go straight to the pyramid center. The rotor of the three-dimensional rotating generator is like a yo-yo with spherical and end surfaces. It requires a touch of genius to provide the drive connection between the central motor and the spherical rotor, which has to be started up in a complex rotation. The 6 diametrically opposed pole shoes from the middle of the pyramid's edges around the spherical rotor form in pairs 3 axes of right angles representing a Cartesian coordinate system. So it shows that the 6-time axis of the edges of the pyramid can be converted into the 3 principal time axis of the central sphere. Did that make any sense to you? I'm trying to understand what I'm reading right now. Hopefully I'll understand it by sharing this with you. I'm trying to understand. Together it imitates 3-dimensional time, which causally creates the 3-dimensional space of our universe. The principles of the first and second analog models are equivalent. One version can be converted into the other. For example, converting the 4 rotating fields to one 3-dimensional rotation in the center mass of the pyramid. The model can be started by switching on the 13 drive motors. 13 drive motors. As the flywheels reach velocity, the 12 starter motors are switched off and only the central motor drives the complete gigantic model. The essence is that all flywheels have exactly the same number of revolutions. They are all either synchronous motors or generators. Then the flywheels are marked and illuminated by a stroboscopic flashlight. Seen by the normal eye, they do not appear to move, showing the synchronous rotation and the constant phase shifts between the flywheels. I don't know if that's a typo, being between or between the flywheels. These mechanical models are meant to explain the unimaginable creation out of the nothing. Explain the unimaginable creation out of the nothing by symbolic imitation of the carrier field. However, it is only a weak symbol of creation. The carrier field is the esoteric medium, a transmutation of the absolute spirit or conscience. It is the spiritual force field of infinite strength, which is present everywhere in the universe. Isn't that beautiful? That's so beautiful. The imitation of the carrier field functions. Nevertheless, the analog of reality is incredible. The analogy. Nevertheless, the analogy of reality is incredible. That's why you need to read this book for yourself, because I'm going to make mistakes in reading this. Okay, it says 13, the imitation of the carrier field functions. Nevertheless, the analogy of reality is incredible. This will be shown in the next explanation of the 5 functions of the cosmic carrier field. The carrier function. The foundation of the carrier field is the infinite force field created by the interference quenching of the original infinite vibration. The mode initiates this force field with the 6 bundles of soft iron bars as the edges of the pyramid. As in reality, the 3-dimensional magnetic rotating field in our model is caused by the linear waves of each time axis. The timeless waves alternate backwards and forwards as in our model. They drive the flywheels representing the masses of the universes. The masses of the universes, plural, right? Universes. And their rotation is the propagation in time. The orientation of the time axis with respect to the nothing. So we can look at this again. It's very interesting, isn't it? So it looks like these, I don't know if we call them flywheels, but they're outside of the pyramid, right? Because you can see them sticking out there. Is there 2 there, 2 there? It looks like they're on the edges, right? Kind of. How about this one? Are they on the edges as well? Or are these... It's difficult to see, isn't it? Okay. Okay, let's turn the page and see what's on the next page here. Oh, whoa, what a drawing. That is beautiful. See, that's one thing we're not going to be able to see in a audiobook, is something like this, right? That's why these books have to be preserved. We need the, oh, hang on, the computer's going to fall over. We need the books to be republished. It's critically important, urgently important. Wow, look at that. Wow. HET analog model. Analog model. So here's a drawing here too, as well. The first analog model. That's a really pretty drawing right here. It looks like there's one on this side, and then on the corner at like an angle, a perfect angle, there's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 on that corner, 1, 2 on that corner, and I guess 1, 2 on that other corner, right, that we can't see. So it looks like, let's see, there's 2 on each line of the pyramid where the 2 sides meet, right? And then that looks like the back of one that's in the middle, like this is. So there's one there, there, and that looks like it's part of one on that side. So every side has one in the middle as well. But I don't know if the bottom, is the bottom? I don't see one on the bottom there. Or there might be. I mean, that could be part of it right there. I don't know. I don't see the wheel part on the bottom. But maybe, what does this do when it's spinning, right? What does it do? Does it lift up? Does it have energy flowing through it? Is it both of those? Right? I imagine it probably has energy flowing through it, which I can charge batteries with. But it also may make something lose weight. If these are all spinning, it might actually lose weight a little bit, right? Because when we spin things, it affects gravity, right? Especially if something develops its own gravitational field. And that's what we think of as anti-gravity. When something generates its own gravitational field, it is repelled, and it repels the gravity field of the Earth. And we call it anti-gravity, even though anti-gravity is not the correct way to say it. We say it because we're familiar with those words. Just like free energy, right? Free energy is not free, but we know that it means over unity. We know that it means more efficient than is unpopularly available. Let's see. This is a painting by Rudolf Das of the analogous visual mechanical carrier field model, which symbolizes time and matter creation. It symbolizes time and matter creation and synchronization in 12 universes. That's really beautiful. That really makes sense in a way. Somehow that resonates. This giant working construction that was a cross between a monument and a machine was seen on an artificially flattened mountaintop on Iarga, the planet Iarga. This place was perceived as a place of pilgrimage, a place of meditation and contemplation, and the machine was a symbol of creation. The Iargans know no separation between science and religion, and religious and spiritual theories are entirely scientific. Right? The laws of creation, right? That's what that makes me think of. The model was several hundred yards long. Wow, that's beautiful. That's like multiple football fields, right? That's really great. I could see like a mothership having that in there in the drive system in the middle of the ship, the middle of it. Or would there be multiple of these, like on throughout the edges of the ship, right? Or just one in the middle, or both. Those are both different designs, probably. I do want to thank the Iargans for bringing this to us. Thank you very much. It's like a thankless job. I mean, people are so busy saying that there's no life out there. And then people say, well, there's life out there, but we're not going to talk about it. You know, it's like, no, I'm going to talk about it. Thank you for sharing. I want to thank everyone throughout all time and space for all the hard work. And I want to see us, we're doing great here, but we there's room for improvement, and there's no reason that we cannot stop fighting. There's every reason to stop fighting. We have to find ways to stop, and I mean on a permanent basis. Okay, there's no war that's going to get us to stop fighting. Because you'll go, oh, it's the war to end all wars, right? No, that's not how it works. Every time they say that, we have another war. So that's not a solution, okay? Making worse and worse weapons that destroy people worse and worse. No, that's not it. We have to find better ways to collaborate and work together. Better ways to meet everyone's needs, right? Because war is always about a deficiency or deprivation of something. Someone wants something, right? But there is enough for everyone, and we can do that. We can do it. If we collaborate as a worldwide solution-oriented collaborating together. Okay, where was I? Entirely scientific. The model was several hundred yards long. The machine seemed to operate by some kind of perpetual motion, neither running on fuel or electrical power. So this system kept running by itself. It kept running itself. See that? Now, do you think it needs bearings and stuff? Yeah, it probably needs bearings. Are they saying it doesn't run by the universe? No, they're not saying that. Okay, so remember, language is for the user, right? Someone's going to tell us what perpetual motion means and say that's the only definition there is. And it's like a bully. It's like a bully going out there and saying perpetual motion means that it can't ever get maintenance, so it can't have the bearings replaced, it can't get oil, it can't ever need to be worked on, and it also is not allowed to be powered by the universe. It has to power itself. That's not the way the universe works. Okay? Energy comes from other places. We all know that. And things need maintenance. We all know that. All we're saying is, in this book, if I understand correctly, is saying that this machine can run once it's going, right? Because they didn't tell us how they started. But it seems like something will get it started. Or who knows, maybe when you build it, you orient these in such a way and they just start spinning. But I would guess you get everything in just the right spot and you spin it just the right way, where all these are spinning at just the right timing. I would think that that would allow it to keep going once it's started, because that's how our systems work. That's how all the systems work on Earth. When someone makes a magnet motor or something that works that just keeps going, which has been proven over and over again for the past several hundred years, right? We already know this. There's no doubt about it. And yes, it needs bearings. Yes, sometimes the magnets break. Sometimes the things go wrong, just like anything else, okay? So if you look at the community area of this channel, right, of true zero emissions, if you look at the community area, you're going to see some writing on there about the meaning of the word perpetual motion. And I wrote about this very idea, okay? Overstepping the reach to perfection and throwing away the good machine. This is a good perpetual motion machine, just using my own description, meaning it probably needs maintenance. It probably needs oil or bearings once in a while. But what they're saying is, if I understand correctly, and this is my paraphrasing and my interpretation, is that this system can run, it can go without adding gasoline, without adding a carbon fuel, which carbon is not a fuel, by the way. Hydrogen's a fuel, right? Just because hydrogen and carbon are connected together doesn't mean we have to use it. We can use hydrogen connected to oxygen. That's the perfect fuel, right? What is that? H2O. That's the perfect fuel, right? And it doesn't cause harm to the air. But if we're moving to electric, which we are, that's fine too, right? Because gasoline cars are outlawed in California. They were outlawed in 2025, which is a few months away. Or no, like less than a month away. And that was the original law. And I think the original law might have even been way before that, but it got pushed back to 2025, right? How many times does something have to be pushed back? Well, the automakers are saying that we can't make people buy electric cars. So we need more time, right? That's what they're saying. I read articles on that. But we can choose any time to make the transition, right? We don't have to hang on and force the automakers to keep making us gas cars, right? Because they're just going to give us what we want. If we want this, they'll make it. Well, they may not make it, but someone will. And my thought is for us to all build, all of us, and share our research with each other to build a toy version of this that puts out 1 watt up to 100 watts for educational purposes. A really simple version of it, right? It could be 3D printed. It could be, and there could be different ways this can be done. It could be an exact replication of this, but it can also be this plus a simpler version of it, right? So maybe it doesn't have as many of these, right? I think they showed that one here in the book. I think there was a simpler version of it where it had less. Did this one have less right here? This looks like it has one on each side, right? So that might do something too. I'd have to read it again. I don't recall if I read all that. I skipped some of the pages here. Apologies for that, but you can read this yourself as well. The machines seem to operate by some kind of perpetual motion, neither running on fuel or electrical power. But in actuality, if it's magnetic, right? If it's magnetic, which it is, I think it is magnetic. Look, they already told us right here. What's this saying? It's telling us the magnetic orientations, right? What's this? They're showing us right here. North, 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 north. There's no south. So who does this remind you of? John Bedini? What was John Bedini doing? All north poles, right? Now, if this is north, then this might have, maybe there's just a magnet on one side and this side's not magnetized. This might be like a weak south pole, right? It might be weak. Or maybe it's just putting a north here, like a magnet, like Earth. As Earth has said, sometimes I've read that it has like a north-south, right? So maybe it's just a north-south, and south is in the middle, and this side's not magnetized. But we just need that north pole, right? And that's what John Bedini always had. He's always doing the north pole, right? And that's just a regular magnet. He wasn't doing anything special. People go on the internet and go, oh, you need a monopole, and that's like, it's going to cost millions of dollars to make that, and you can't even make it, and it's been theorized, and there's just like pages and pages of going on about making this monopole. John Bedini used the regular refrigerator magnet that cost a couple dollars. So people are always going to take simplicity and overcomplicate it. Okay, and that's people get confused, and maybe we like complicating things more and more. People have said I overcomplicated things, and I ask a lot of questions about things, and I am curious about things, and I want to know how things work, and I want to read everything. My teachers luckily always said that to me, read everything, but not when people are being bullies. I ignore that. Bullies and mean people, are they being mean? I can't help them, and they have to help themselves. I'm helping myself right now. I'm trying to learn. But it's odd when someone tells me that I'm stupid because I'm continuing my education. Someone's telling me to stop learning and saying I'm stupid for continuing my education. That makes no sense. So that's just bullying, right? Bullying is like trying to control us, right? Trying to control us and trying to control people's minds and what they think about and what they're curious about. I think. That's what I think of it as. One form of it, right? Okay, so what do we say over here? What do we have over here? Okay. So I invite everyone to study, right? Just study, 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 right? Okay, so and how can we use our mind to contribute to the betterment of humanity? And everyone's doing it. The world is a really great place. I mean, we're doing so good. And we have to keep going, right? We can do it. Everyone makes a difference. That's the most important thing to know. That everyone makes a difference, right? And you don't have to be smart or think you're smart or anything. You can just be who you are and just do what you like. Contribute in the way that you like, right? That's what's important to know. Everyone contributes just by existing. The world's a better place just because you're here, right? Just because you're here, the world is a better place. And know that. And know when you do something you like, you're making the world a better place. That's very important. Okay, so let's see what this says. This says, the relative position of one time axis in the apparent nothing plays an important role in the orientation of the universes in reality. Let me read that again. I'm going to try to read it faster. I was reading it through by looking at the phone screen, but I'm going to look at the page directly. The relative position of one time axis in the apparent nothing plays an important role in the orientation of the universes in reality. Universes plural, remember that? How many universes do you think there are? There's infinite. There's infinite universes, okay? And there's something bigger than a universe. And there's something bigger than that, and there's something bigger than that. It just keeps going, right? Yes, and who wants to explore that? I do. I want to go on a field trip, okay? I want to go everywhere. And I'm just saying, I love learning. I love seeing things and exploring. Yes. So let's do it together, everybody. We can do this. We can do this. Let's see. Okay, so I'll start over again. The relative position of one time axis in the apparent nothing plays an important role in the orientation of the universes in reality, determining the direction of each time axis. Here, the first model is shown representing the 4 three-phase synchronous generators in the planes of the pyramid, only with decomposition. Only with decomposition. Compose. I don't know how to pronounce that word. DECOMPOSTION. Decomposition. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. I apologize. Of the 3-dimensional rotation into 4 rotations, can one show that the 3-dimensional rotating field has left no remaining component in the nothing, while in contrast, a 2-dimensional rotating field cannot be nullified? Wow. I don't know if that word's like a decomposition. Is it decomposition, you think? Only with decomposition of three-dimensional rotating into 4 rotations can one show that the 3-dimensional rotating field has left no remaining component in the nothing, while in contrast, a 2-dimensional rotating field cannot be nullified. A remaining component will always exist in the nothing. This can be explained by considering a single plane of the pyramid with its 6 flywheels at the edges. The analog for a 2-dimensional carrier field. The rotation impulse, where does that word come from? Nikola Tesla and John Bedini and Tom Bearden and many others. The rotation impulse of the flywheels is compensated by the opposite rotations, but the rotation impulse of the central three-phase generator is left over. It can be measured by the outside world, the nothing. It requires four field three-phase generators maintaining overall symmetry to compensate for these rotation impulses. With this, the three-dimensionality of the carrier field has been shown, and the orientation of the time axis with respect to the nothing is determined. The time synchronization function. Impressively, the model imitates the time synchronization, simultaneously maintaining the cosmic counterbalance by which the universes continue to exist. Ooh, hear what that said? I've read this before too. Impressively, the model imitates the time synchronization, simultaneously maintaining the cosmic counterbalance. We've been talking about this counterbalancing, right? Wimshurst machine, right? Wimshurst machine. There's a counter rotation, right? And the coils of this, look at this, the G field generator, right? The counter, south, north, north, south. South, north hitting the same coils, north, south hitting the same coil at the same time on the same, right? These are connected, but it's getting opposites twice, right? I think of that when I think of this, when I read this. Impressively, the model imitates the time synchronization, simultaneously maintaining the cosmic counterbalance by which the universes continue to exist. This is the power station for the universes. Plural, multiple universes, right? This is the power station. I mean, this is what we're talking about, I think. The rotation of the two flywheels per axis is in opposite directions, and they rotate with exactly the same speed. Thus, it imitates the circular motion to the timeless waves, which progresses exactly synchronous by their mutual interference coupling. The 12 cosmic systems run without any dissipation once started. The 12 cosmic systems, they're calling these cosmic systems, right? I really like that. And think of cosmic energy. How many times we've heard that word, cosmic energy, right? It's powered by cosmic energy, right? So we say things like dark energy, dark matter, tachyon waves, gravity waves, virtual particle flux fields, tachyon waves, cosmic energy. There's many words that we use, but cosmic energy is one of them that we use a lot, right? And these words are all used interchangeably oftentimes, including gravity waves. The 12 cosmic systems run without any dissipation. Now, I'm not saying that word, they're using it in the same way that I reference it, but I'm just saying, I'm just noticing that word is being used, and I'm sharing with you what it makes me think of, okay? So I'm just clarifying that I'm letting you know that it makes me think of when I use that word, even though I don't know for sure they're using it in the same way, just to clarify that. The 12 cosmic systems run without any dissipation once started. The perpetuum mobile continues into eternity with the absolute accuracy of time synchronization. Wow. And when I think of time synchronization, I think of the fact that energy is maintained. I mean, that the material universe is maintained at 10 to the 120th times per second, cycles per second, right? 10 to the 120th. That's 1 with 120 zeros. You can look up that word. It's a big word, or it's hard for me to pronounce. It might be easy for you. I wanted to memorize the word and the spelling of it, but I thought I'll just say 10 to the 120th. With the absolute, and that's just, again, I want to distinguish and clarify that I'm letting you know what I think of, not that they're using it in the same way. I don't know that they're referencing it in the same way. Okay, I'm just letting you know it's what I think of, right? So into eternity with the absolute accuracy of time synchronization. If one supposes the model to be without loss and without using the eternal driving motors, it will continue to run synchronously due to the inertia of the flywheels and the fact that the synchronous linear impulse motors can function as generators as well. So it sounds like the motors are acting as generators. Somehow, I don't know how they're made, but I think of John Bedini, where he had the coil with a ferrous iron material, which was usually welding rods of a specific type and kind. And he recommended using ferrous, what do you call it, like just regular magnets, not neodymium, for the specific design. And then he would have the coil would have many windings of copper, right? Many different windings. And some of those windings were the motoring effect, making those norths on the wheel, on the bicycle wheel, like about 5 inches away from one another, right? Making those move, keeping that wheel moving. And then as those same magnets passed that coil and the ferrous iron, there was those impulses going. And those were what we charge batteries with, right? So we have a motor and a generator built into one. And the specific circuitry and the balancing of all that is what allowed it to all work. But my thoughts are, I don't need the same system to be a motor and a generator. I would be happy just to have the wires, the coil, and the ferrous iron metal in there. And yes, if it's going to be welding rods, if that's better, that's fine too. But because I don't need it to be a motor and a generator, I don't need both. I might be able to use neodymium magnets, right? I think John Bedini was saying not to use neodymium because people wanted the motor to be a generator as well, and there can be interference. I think I'll use that word, where it's just too much. It's too strong of a magnetic field, right, for having it be a motor and a generator at the same time. But I just want that pulsing. I want that pulsing, that strong pulsing. So the magnets 5 inches apart. They don't have to be neodymium. They could be regular magnets, and all the norths facing that coil. But if it's north, south, north, south, north, south, that's an interesting test as well, right? What's the difference between the two of those? And what happens if we have two coils that the magnets pass at the same time? So if a north is passing this coil and a north is passing this coil, right? If I have two coils here, and those two pass that at the same exact time, how is that different than just passing one coil at a time, right? Because that reminds me more of this, right? This is these two coils, which is one coil, but it's passing two fields, opposite fields at the same time. And then this coil is passing two opposite fields at the same time. But these coils are connected right here, right? So what does this do? It's called a gravity field generator. But where do we connect these slip rings? These are called slip rings, right? Where brushes connect to. So when this is spinning, and this has to be a non-ferrous metal, right? A magnet cannot stick to this. That's urgently important. These are magnets. This is a ferrous metal, and this is a non-ferrous metal, aluminum or copper. And when this is spinning, and what do we go with the output, right? What do we do with that G field, that gravity field output? What do we do with it? That's my thoughts. Because that was said by, I think Sajeka said that G field generator was from a spaceship. That powers something on a spaceship, or it does something on a spaceship, right? It's very interesting. Okay, where were we? It can be measured by the outside world, the nothing. I don't know where I was here. We'll start at the top again. The rotation impulse of the flywheel is compensated by the opposite rotations, but the rotating impulse by the opposite rotations, but is compensated by the opposite rotations, but the rotation impulse of the central three-phase generator is left over. It can be measured by the outside world, the nothing. It requires four field three-phase generators maintaining overall symmetry to compensate for these rotation impulses. With this, the three-dimensionality of the carrier field has been shown, and the orientation of the time axis with respect to the nothing is determined. The time synchronization function Impressively, the model imitates the time synchronization, simultaneously maintaining the cosmic counterbalance by which the universes continue to exist. The rotation of the two flywheels per axis is in opposite directions, and they rotate with exactly the same speed. Thus, it imitates the circular motion of the timeless waves, which progresses exactly synchronous by their mutual interference coupling. The 12 cosmic systems run without any dissipation once started. The perpetuum mobile continues into eternity with the absolute accuracy of time synchronization. If one supposes the model to be without loss and without using the eternal driving motors, it will continue to run synchronously due to the inertia of the flywheels and the fact that the synchronous linear impulse motors can function as generators as well. This symbolizes another property of the continuous circular motion of the timeless waves. Because every wave somewhere in the pyramid circuit at each moment has its opposite value, resulting in an overall zero at any moment. This is the law of conservation of nothing. This is the law of conservation of the nothing. That's an interesting way to word it, right? It's an interesting way it's worded there. So let's see what we're looking at now. We're over here now. So let's see. The coupling field function. Time synchronization is not alone determined by the iron grip of the three-dimensional carrier field and the principle of cosmic counterbalance. Apart from this, an important effect is realized from the feedback of the gigantic masses of the universes to the timeless waves. These masses can be considered as enormous flywheels without loss. Once started by the superflash, no change in speed is possible because a force of sufficient magnitude is simply not available. This function of the coupling field can also be shown in our model because the linear synchronous motors of the flywheels are also generators. If the central driving motor is switched off, then the flywheels continue for some time to drive the central three-dimensional rotating sphere. Everything stays exactly synchronous with the same phase shifts. This experiment shows how the flywheels feed their energy back and have a stabilizing function in the time synchronization. The coupling field of the masses of the universes is fed back in the time-bound vibrations of the atom field, from which no atom total mass of the universes is fed back to one single atom. The timeless primeval atom, the timeless primeval atom principle, the transmitter function. The atom field is a time-creating field. It's a time-creating field, and as such, a remote manifestation of the primeval atom principle. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. Primeval. It can be compared with a transmitter. As soon as the program is converted into waves of great power, billions of radios can receive the same program. The number is unlimited. Everything depends on the one program of the transmitter. The primeval atom field, if this exists with infinite strength, it is at the same time the vibration medium, the carrier field, which helps it to spread everywhere. Thus, any atom in any universe can receive the timeless basic program. The second model shows the three-dimensional time field of the primeval atom field most clearly, although this is a three-dimensional rotation of the central sphere in spatial sense. This is an analog of reality. The atom has a spherical field which is defined by 6 linear time vibration directions. Any atom is a remote manifestation of the one carrier field of infinite strength. Considering this fifth function of the carrier field, one has to realize that only the central sphere, the atom, is visible to us. The fields in the pyramid edges outside the sphere are invisible. It is the time field reality of which the atom is a reflection. It is the time field reality of which the atom is a reflection. That's very interesting. The mechanical instruction models are the visual representations of the principles of the cosmic unified field theory. This requires, however, some marginal notes. A material comparison to explain spiritual abstractions is always in some ways incomplete. There are several hiatus, of which only the 3 most important ones are mentioned. In the model, in the model, one time axis represents only one frequency of the magnetic field, while in reality all frequencies are contained. Every frequency, however, can be initiated for each time axis for which the interference representation of the analog model is valid. The model demonstrates the rotating field of the timeless waves. It does not imitate the time-bound waves by which the hour time axis, the propagation speed of time is x, then the phase velocity of the 2 time axis connected to our pyramid edge is 1/2 x. The other 2 time axis connecting our time axis with the other corner of the pyramid is, it looks like, let's see, minus 1/2 x, making up for the time speed of our anti-universe minus x. The crossing, not touching time axis, is perpendicular to our time axis and does not contribute. 3. In our model, the masses of the universes are given by the flywheel symbol. In fact, this is fundamentally wrong, because it is separated from the 3-dimensional rotation of the central sphere. It can therefore basically not maintain the counterbalance of the nothing. The most important conclusion of the analog model is that time, matter, and energy are creations out of the nothing, and therefore the counterbalance has to be maintained to allow the causal infinity of the nothing exist. 14. The existential symbolism of the model. So far, the physical aspects of the model have been unraveled. But if one wants to give a wider context to the model, suddenly all the physical symbols change their meaning. In relation to philosophical or theological disciplines, the model takes on the additional meaning of the unification of science and religion. By certain inherent laws within any intelligent race, the denial of God's existence will be destroyed sooner or later. Earth science will provide an indestructible contribution to our final knowledge, awareness, which we shall attribute as typical human attainment in the cosmic integration. It is that piece of our human identity and self-awareness which we shall possess and care for throughout eternity. It, the light of this purpose, science serves God, and the distinction between science and religion fades away. Okay. Anyway, so you could read this on your own, and just want to show some of these designs, because in the audiobook you won't be able to see this. Now this has something in the middle, right? That's interesting. I wonder what's in the middle. I think they explained it. I don't know if there's something in the middle that's spinning or if that's just the solid piece of metal in the middle. And they may have already explained that, and I just have to read it again. The instructional analog model. The mechanical instruction models are the visual representation of the principles of the cosmic unified field theory. Oh, you know what? I'm going to sit this down for a minute. I just thought of something that might help this, help me not have everything fall off. Everything's sitting on the scooter right now, but keeps falling off. I just realized that I might even help this by putting something under the kickstand of the scooter and raising it up a little bit. Oh boy. I've been sitting with my legs crossed for a long time, and it can be difficult to get up when having been sitting down for a really long time. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm on my way. I'm just making some adjustments here. I need about 2 minutes. Okay, I think that's going to help us. Oops. Okay, I'm back. And I made some adjustments, but I'm not sure how much it's going to really help. Because this big kickstand piece right here is causing the books to not sit properly as well. Okay. Let's see what this says here. Okay, I don't know if we read this already. Did we read this? Okay, I might have to read it all again because I don't know if I read it. Okay. The mechanical instruction. Okay, this is the instructional analog model. The mechanical instructional models are the visual representation of the principles of the cosmic unified field theory. The model is intended to demonstrate that time, matter, and energy are creations out of the nothing. Wow. The model is intended to demonstrate that time, matter, and energy are creations out of the nothing, and therefore the counterbalance has to be maintained to allow the causal infinity of the nothing to exist. In a broader context, the physical symbols all take on new meaning and demonstrate the unification of science and religion. In a religious sense, the spherical three-dimensional time field in the heart of the pyramid symbolizes the soul of the Creator. The pyramid symbolizes the infinite love, will, the cage in which the infinity of His existence has been blocked irrevocably. The lines symbolize the different frequencies of the timeless waves. The flywheels on the edges of the pyramid symbolize the 12 associated and interrelated universes, including ours, that make up this unity. One cannot exist without the others. That's absolutely amazing. And this again reminds me of Paramahamsa Tiwari. Going back to Paramahamsa Tiwari, it reminds me of his one moment, please. I'm trying to move around here so I could read to you and share with you for educational purposes. Share my journey of learning with you. This all reminds me of Paramahamsa Tiwari's work. I think that's why I'm looking at all this together at the same time, because I don't know, there just seems to be similar to me. And it made me think, I used to think that, extraterrestrial life can help us so much. There's so much they know. They're so far ahead of us. I mean, not all of extraterrestrial life, but much of it, right? There's probably a more advanced and less advanced life than us. But I thought the more advanced life could teach us so much. And then I realized that we can help ourselves. Look at Paramahamsa Tiwari was here. He ran a power station. And he's sharing with us the space power generator. And his book is out of print. I mean, we can't let things like that happen. We have to find ways to keep the important research going. Free energy generation is a critically important book. Every single book that Paramahamsa Tiwari wrote is critically important, and must be kept in print. It must be. I mean, his book's selling for thousands of dollars. That's not, no one wants that. That's not what he wanted. He wanted people to be able to have access to books for the price that students can afford and people can afford that want to learn. Okay, so let's go. Let's see what we're looking at here. Let's see what else there is on the next page. Let's see what this last page says. Okay, so we read this, and let's see. Oh, on this page it says, that is why I'm reading on the bottom of this. Theologian covers the central sphere with pure... Oh, okay, this is going back into reading more about... Okay, I'll show the page, so if you want to read that, you can. So there's this one, where they're talking about that. But I do recommend getting the book. You can get it on audiobook. Okay, so we'll show this one. And what's this? Oh, that looks neat. It says, other large disc-shaped craft. Though infrequent, this is not the first case of very large disc-shaped UFO craft reported and even photographed. Okay, well we know that. We know there's lots and lots of different vehicles throughout the world and throughout the universe. Okay, so let's go back to the space power generator research. And okay, I think I'm going to stop this video here. I'll stop this video here and we'll start a new video. And I apologize that these videos take so long to load. I'm starting this load on Sunday or Monday morning, early Monday morning. And I don't know when it's going to be loaded onto the channel. I don't know how long it's going to take. If it's going to take a week or more. I don't know, or how many days it'll take. But this is Paramahamsa Tiwari's space power generator. And Paramahamsa Tiwari and Bruce De Palma collaborate together. Bruce De Palma first came up with the N machine, and I think Paramahamsa Tiwari was studying that machine and then made his own, went on his own path with it. Developed it into the space power generator, which was shared with Bruce De Palma, and Bruce De Palma shared some of the research on, I think, on his channel as well, on his page. Okay, everyone, we'll see you soon in the next video. See you soon. Bye-bye.